Всем привет! We continue working with the worksheets for specific cases, and today our worksheet covers actually two cases, accusative and prepositional, or how it's structured on the worksheet, first prepositional and then accusative. Okay, let's start.
If you like it, please click like. If it's useful, drop a line. If you love it, hit subscribe. Like me, подпишись и комментарий напиши.
Okay, so here are our correct responses. And as always, first of all, I'm going to go over the prompt. And here we had two prompts. And here's kind of like a deconstructed question. Где ты вчера был or была, which means where were you yesterday? And this был, была has two forms because ты, when you say you to someone, that you can be a male or a female. So in Russian, we have gender-dependent endings. So if whoever you're talking to is male, that would be был. And if it's a female, it's была. So где ты вчера был? Где ты вчера была? This question is asking where were you yesterday? So it's inquiring about the fixed location. So there is a location and you were there. I just don't know what this location is. And when we talk about our locations, we are using the prepositional case. So you have it in explanations in the chart. Now, here where we have the explanation of this context, it says after v or na and the prepositional case with locations. Now, as you can see here, all of the prepositions here are v. So we use the preposition v when we can actually enter something. And it can be an actual physical entrance where you can open the door and like go inside of something, or it can be kind of like imaginary borders. So for instance, for Russians think of such locations as the downtown or the park or the forest as something that has specific borders and you actually can enter it. So basically, you're not there and then you take a step and you're already there. And I know it's kind of like, questionable where we can say like there are borders to downtown, but that's how our kind of like psychology of the language sees it. So that's why we're using the preposition v with these locations. There are some exceptions. For example, the word kitchen or the word post office. Well, you actually can enter the kitchen, you can actually enter the post office, but in Russian, they will be using the preposition na, which we will cover in the next video. Because in the past, kitchen and post office were outside, like in the old times. So for Russians, that was like, if it's outside, it's not something you exactly can enter. So some things just need to be learned. So when else do we use the preposition v? We also use it with geographical locations that are cities and countries. For instance, if you want to say in Russia, you would have to use the prepositional v, or in the United States, or in Moscow, in New York. So cities and countries will also use the preposition v. Okay, so, and as I said, we are inquiring about locations. So here, all of these forms are going to be in the prepositional case. And the second question is, куда ты вчера ходил or ходила? So where did you yesterday go? So where did you go yesterday? Where did you go to? So here, где is where when we're asking about a specific location, and куда is where when we're asking about a destination. So like where to. So where did you go yesterday? And again, ходил, ходила has two forms, feminine and masculine first, я ходил, and feminine second, ходила, because once again, you can be either male or female. Now, when we're inquiring about where to, especially with the verbs of motion, we are talking about v, na plus destination, this context that we have for accusative. So all of these forms will be in the accusative case. And again, here we also are using the preposition v, because once it's your destination, you're going there, you can actually enter it. Or maybe it's a city or a country and so on. Okay, let's take a look. So here we have the library. So if you want to say it as a location, it will be в библиотеке. However, if it's a destination, that will be в библиотеку. Где ты была вчера, Анна? Я была, I'm using the female version of this verb because I'm female. Я была в библиотеке. Я ходила в библиотеку. Here we have a store, like a grocery store or some, small shop. Я вчера была в магазине. Я вчера ходила в магазин. And as you can notice, magazine doesn't have endings, and it will be in the same form as the default form, which you can see in the description to this video. Because remember, in accusative case, neutral and masculine nouns that cannot look you in the eyes, so inanimate won't change. They will stay in the default form. And that's exactly what's happening here. Okay, here we have the shopping center or the mall. And in Russian, we do have the word mall, M-O-L-L. But we also use a lot, we also often use the word торговый центр, shopping center. Вчера я была в торговом центре. Вчера я ходила в торговый центр. Here we have the pool, whether inside or outside. Вчера я была в бассейне. Вчера я ходила в бассейн. Next, we have a cafe. And actually, you already can see that the form of the word cafe will not change in prepositional and accusative. This is the subcategory of words, and they're usually neutral words that are borrowed from other languages, and they never change. They just never change. So cafe or coffee, the one that you drink, also never changes. So cafe is the place that you go to, a cafe. So я вчера была в кафе. Вчера я ходила в кафе. You probably can hear that I'm varying the placement of the word вчера, and I just want to remind you that in Russian they have a somewhat flexible word order, and specifically for words like yesterday, today, so for adverbs, the placement is pretty flexible. Okay, next we have a bar, so a bar where you can go and drink like alcoholic drinks, that kind of a bar. Я была в баре вчера. So here I put вчера at the very end. Вчера я ходила в бар. So here we have the gym. Вчера я была в спортзале. Я вчера ходила в спортзал. Here we have the theater. Я вчера была в театре. Я вчера ходила в театр. So here we have the word гости, and that literally means guests, like a plural word of the word guest, гость, гости. And in Russian, we also use this word for the concept of visiting somebody. So we literally say when you are visiting somebody, you're like in the guests. And when you're going to visit somebody, you're going into the guests. That's exactly what we have here. Вчера я была в гостях. Вчера я ходила в гости. And finally, we have the zoo. I don't know why, but in a lot of textbooks, they include the zoo, even though in reality, we don't go there that much. Although I do go there with my kids quite often. We love the zoo. Мы любим зоопарк. Okay. Вчера я была в зоопарке. Я ходила в зоопарк вчера. Okay, and now let me read them one after another, and I'm not going to be reading the whole response. I'm just going to be reading all prepositional forms first, and then all accusative forms. В библиотеке. В магазине. В торговом центре. В бассейне. В кафе. В баре. В спортзале. В театре. В гостях. В зоопарке. Okay, and now it's our destination where we're going to. В библиотеку. В магазин. В торговый центр. В бассейн. В кафе. В бар. В спортзал. В театр. В гости. В зоопарк. Okay, so we're stopping here. And for the next time, we are going to be working with a very similar format, but we will be practicing future tense. So right now we practiced where were you, and we're going to be practicing where will you be tomorrow, and where you want to go to tomorrow. And we will be practicing locations that require the preposition na. Okay, so remember all of these forms are already in the correct case. So prepositional here and accusative here, and you just need to find the matching pictures. Okay, so we're done working with another worksheet. Please don't forget to comment if you find it useful or if you're running into any problems. And I usually post some kind of a question that you can also try responding to in Russian. I think it would be fun to practice your Russian this way with these kind of like chunks that I give you. Okay, don't forget to look in the description of this video because it has the words in the default form, and use my charts to track the forms down from default nominative to prepositional and to accusative. Okay, keep learning Russian. Пока-пока.